we're, in respect to those of you that are here on time, we're going to get started on time. You may or may not be aware of this. There's probably 2 or 3 reasons that we don't have 75 agents in this room. Maybe one of the reasons is everybody knows that they can now watch these sales meetings on video. So if you did not know that, or if you're one of the people who are now watching our sales meeting on video after the fact, if you go to our website and you go to the agent portal, I'm not going to go through the links, we've done that enough, webscobaker.com or pioneerrealestate.com or cbmarinavalley.com or cbpre.com. You go to the agent portal, you log in, all of our, actually it looks like Brian's keeping the last 6 meetings up, active on the website. This is the June meeting. Click on the video and you can watch the June meeting. So in a few days, or it takes Brian to process it, the July meeting will be up. So, you know, Shelley and I talked months and months ago whether it was a good idea to video the sales meetings. One of the things, there was a bunch of reasons we thought it may or may not be a good idea. One of the reasons we thought it might not be a good idea is that if everyone could watch it on video, they would show up. So, but I don't think that's why people aren't here. I think they're not here because we don't have any donuts. So, or maybe the market's a little tough. At any rate, it's 9. I'm going to try to get out of here by 10, so let's go through some stuff. We do not have a breakfast host. I want to take an informal survey for those of you that are here. Okay, I've gone back and forth with hosts for the meetings for my entire career. I personally don't particularly like it when we have someone come in, whether it's a friend or foe, so to speak, you know, and says, hey, I'm with ABC Home Warranty, and they provide us cookies and donuts, and then we give them 10 or 15 minutes or 5 minutes. That turns me off. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I would rather keep these meetings more kind of business related as opposed to having somebody come in and tell us about home warranty for the 15th time or mortgage for the 30th time or, you know, closing gifts, Cutco knives or whatever, which I understand, which I thought was kind of ironic. I think the guy from Cutco got more business out of this office than anybody's who ever spoke in this office before, because he was here all day trying to sell knives. But anyway, you guys have any feelings on that one way or the other? If you want to have a speaker come in and take 10 or 15 minutes of our meeting every month, I'm willing to hear that opinion. But to be honest with you, my personal opinion is I would rather just cut to the chase and be done with it. And if donuts are that big of a deal, I'll spend $30 on donuts. Anybody got any thoughts?
Yes, I do. I like to hear from the lenders.
Okay.
But the other ones are nonsensical. I don't have to hear about
Okay, Marilyn wants to hear from lenders, and I don't disagree with that. I think if we've got a lender coming in with this is what's going on, and here's the update on FHA financing or the FICO requirements, that's a little bit different. And frankly, we wanted to have Durana here. Actually, we did have Durana here last month, and she was supposed to talk on stuff just like that, and we gave her the floor, and she didn't say a word, which I thought was kind of odd. But I'm more talking about the home inspectors or the sales pitch stuff. So apparently there's no opinion on it other than Marilyn. I don't see a lot of stuff. So anyway,
I didn't have people coming in for just talk. That's the part I hated. But I had them come in to bring the food. And
right.
The title companies used to be able to do that. Now they can't.
Right.
So that's why I had them come in.
Yeah, well, and, you know, back in the day it was nice. We just, you know, we call the title. We don't have to call them. They just show up with a box of donuts and fruit and whatever. Okay, well anyway, we don't have a breakfast host today, so we're going to cut straight to it.
Ryan brought donut holes.
Ryan brought donut holes. Ryan is our breakfast host for today.
I was friendly, I almost didn't get it.
And he just so happens to be a lender. So we're going to give Brian 30 minutes to give us an update. Anyway, thank you, Ryan. We appreciate it. Okay, really quickly on the phones. I've heard no issues internally on the telephones, which I'm going to consider a good thing. Hopefully in another month or two, we'll just delete this slide from our presentation. But I just do want to bring it up because we still are kind of evolving with the phone systems in the offices. Has anybody had any issues with the phone systems in the room? Michael?
Yeah,
Shelley? What do we have?
Ryan, go ahead. You run the show. Run it.
They actually, I didn't see you guys put your hands up, but I was going to comment on that. There actually has been a real smooth pace on those, other than the usual questions, which I've summed up to a fact, which are on the website if you guys have not already seen that. Really just simple questions. How do I, transfer a call kind of stuff, but other than that, it's been smooth.
Okay, well, what do you?
Well, the old phones used to notify us if there was a voicemail.
Those ones do that?
Doesn't do it to my cell phone, so I don't know who programmed it.
Some jerk.
So the question was, you're not being notified if you have a voicemail? Do you have are you using the voicemail on the phone system? You're not having your calls forwarded to yourself?
I'm not, but I will, because it'll be
Okay.
easier.
Okay, well, if you are not having your calls forwarded to yourself, which in effect means you will get voicemails here at the office, the system does have the ability to notify you, so if you're not experiencing that notification, I think it could, send you an email
Send
and
you an email.
do all sorts of crazy
Send an
things.
email with the actual voicemail.
Having said that, I would think
I
that
am
most of
not
us are
programmed
going
for
to
that,
have their
apparently.
phones forwarded to themselves, but that's personal preference, you can do whatever you want.
It is?
Shelley, what do you?
Well, I tried to call the Redlands
Short
office
story, though.
yesterday from the office phone and
Okay.
it rang once and disconnected.
Okay, great question. If you are, which kind of gets to my Covina update, one of the unique features of our new phone system is I don't know the best analogy to give you, but bottom line is that you cannot call the other offices directly. So in other words, Shelley tries to call Redlands, maybe tomorrow Steve wants to call someone in the Covina office. Don't actually dial their number, okay? It would be the equivalent of Shelley is in the office and she wants to talk to Mike Boab, so Shelley in the office calls 601-1170 to get a hold of Mike. Don't do that. If you want to get a hold of someone in Redlands, just hit their 3-digit extension.
I don't know how would I know their 3-digit extension?
We'll get everybody an extension, we'll get everybody an extension list. But one of the things that we haven't done this yet, and I want to make sure Brian and I talk about this, we want to kind of make a universal extension like for the front desk, so that you'll know, we're the 200 series, for example. So right now, if you want to hit the reception, I think her extension is
221.
We're going to change that. I haven't talked to Brian about it. We're going to change it to some kind like 200. So if you want to hit the reception at Marina Valley, because you don't know Steve Browers, you hit extension 200. Hey, can you get me to Steve? Redlands will be 100. Covina will be 300, whatever it happens to be. So it's one of those little logistical things that we need to work on. We'll certainly get you guys extensions for everybody. I think for most of us, it's probably not going to be necessary. I don't think most of you are going to want to have an extension list with 180 people on it, most of which are from Claremont or Covina. But we'll at least get you the main number. So if you want to call Redlands, you hit extension 100 or whatever it happens to be, and that'll get you connected.
My plan is to have an auto-generated extension list that's populated on the agent portal. It's not active
Oh,
yet.
that'd be cool.
Right.
That'd be really cool.
So we will work on that. But in the meantime, if you want to call one of the other offices, don't call the number. Call the reception desk, so to speak, or call the agent direct. If you do have their extension, if you're doing a deal with someone at Redlands, just hit their 3-digit extension, just as if you would do somebody internal.
Well, and then yesterday I dialed a number in Riverside and it kept telling me the number was disconnected. And I thought, well, that's so
You dialing the full 10-digit number?
I wasn't dialing one first.
Not one, but just area. Even though it's a 951 number, dialing 951.
No, but I haven't been doing that. And sometimes it goes through and sometimes it
That's
doesn't.
why I've been telling everybody to do that, because I'll spare you the details, but there are some circumstances where that would work and some that it won't. So as a blanket policy, always dial the 10-digit number. You'll never have a problem.
Right. Yeah, and assuming everybody knows that, you've got, even if you're in the 951 and we're calling a 951, you got to dial 951. Okay, well, these problems, to be honest with you, these are the type of problems I'm glad to hear that we're having, because these are relatively easy issues for us to address. My bigger concern, and I don't hear any of this, is consistently dropped calls, static, just garbled digital noise, whatever it happens to be.
I have a little bit of that, but there's nothing to say that it was on my end. I couldn't tell. If it
Could have
was
been the cell number or something like that, yeah.
I was here in the office, so
Okay. Well, if you do get a lot of that, let Brian know right away, but generally speaking, we're okay. Okay, so the Covina office should be up here shortly, and again, that's just, and then Claremont will come after that, and then in a short, hopefully within the next 30 to 45 days, 100% of the offices, actually within the next
2 weeks.
week, Covina will be on, and then the straggler will be Claremont, and that'll happen a couple weeks after that.
The only other thing is, because of the way we rotate the receptionists based on trying to provide the best service, so the phones rotate, If
Yep.
someone's here, but they're busy, it goes to the next office?
Well, we've actually changed that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had some challenges with that. What we were doing for a short period of time is if the reception, and frankly, we got ahead of ourselves a little bit. I mean, I think we got a little too cute by half. The system can do all these great things. And we figured, hey, if Annette's busy up here, let's have the phone ring at Claremont, Covina, Redlands. The system actually works pretty darn good, but there was some other challenges with that. Hold times and queues, and we weren't really set up. So we've actually stopped that.
Okay.
But what we're talking about doing, we haven't quite done it yet, but we're talking about getting basically a common receptionist for all the offices, where those individuals, and it wouldn't necessarily be one person, it could be a couple of people that will handle all the calls, but it won't bounce around between the 5 different offices. It sounded like a good idea, but it wasn't.
Will the
Well,
phones,
very well.
I'm assuming the phones have an in or out, so we could say, let the receptionist would know whether you're in your office or not? Because that's one of the other things is and that was what I experienced, is people would call, go to another office, they don't know me from Adam. Oh yeah, well, let me transfer you, and, and I had just got off the phone with somebody, but I'm, in the can, or, whatever, and then it's like, where did he go?
It would be difficult
Right.
to have in and out visibility for all the phones at all the offices just because of the sheer number of them. But
Well, I'm saying, if you're talking about having a central core.
we're talking
phones do
a
it.
couple hundred
Yeah,
buttons.
and?
I don't know how practical that would be. I understand the idea. I just don't know how practical. I mean, we haven't had it like.
Yeah, right. The way it works right now is and this is by design, agents have requested this, if the receptionist shouldn't care if they're there or not. They just transfer a call to their desk. The agent will have it set up however they want, which in most cases is dial their extension, transfer the call to them. If they're not there, it goes to their cell phone automatically
Right.
while they're driving around. Hey, this is Shelly, how can I help you? Or if they don't answer, it goes to their cell phone's voicemail rather than office voicemail for the same reason. They can get that. They're already used to getting it on their phone, and it's
Well, here's
Homogeneous.
my point with this, is that, as you well know, anybody that does short sales here, we go into voicemail purgatory, right? And we talk to the
Yeah.
banks or whomever. It's nice to have a live voice that's compassionate and says, yep, he's in the office. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I think it just adds one more level of customer service. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you, and there are some challenges with that, just from this. I mean, certainly we get the phone answered. Hey, can I speak to Mike? Whether or not we can truly 100% of the time have the receptionist say certainly no problem, that they know you're here, they just walked by you or something like that. As opposed to certainly get you to your extension, and then if you're not in, it's going to forward to your cell phone. Which is why I personally think if you don't have your calls forwarded to your cell, and I understand there may be one reason that you don't want to do that, I just think you're missing the boat. Because then you truly can kind of be your own receptionist, and you may see, geez, man, I'm on the phone, which keep hammering me with an extra call. But that's what they put that hold and answer button on your iPhone for. Rose.
Is there any way that the operators, the receptionist knows when you're on the phone? I had a situation where the receptionist didn't see me come in. She was on the phone, she was really busy. I was waiting for a client. My client was sitting out there for half an hour. I was on the phone with a short sale bank,
Right.
and I was thinking, oh my God, until the client calls me on my cell phone and says, Rose, we've been waiting for half an hour.
Well,
And
that's
I'm
not
like,
a
"Where are
phone
you?"
issue, that's a receptionist issue.
Okay,
Um,
but she said she didn't know I was on the phone. They have no way of knowing when you're on the phone and you're in the
Is
office.
that true?
Yeah, it's true. She has
for the
no
local
way.
for the local office that's possible, but if for the central reception it's not going to be possible because you can only have I think about 50 buttons.
Right.
And it just,
Well, but to me, that's still a separate issue, because I've had this problem. Let's pick on Annette, because she's up there, and she does this, she's smiling. I've had this happen to me many times. I've been in my office, maybe I've been on the phone, maybe I've been with a client, maybe I've just been doing email, and I've had clients sit in the lobby waiting for me for 10 or 15 minutes. And when that happens, I'm like, how did that happen? So that, to be honest with you, that's a receptionist issue. If you physically have a client in this building and they're sitting in there for more than 2 minutes, and the receptionist is trying to get you on your phone, or they're not sure, they need to get off their butt and they need to go into your office and find you. And if they're too busy to do that, they need to call one of the property management staffs, or call me, or call Drew, or call Janet, and say, hey, Rose has a client in the lobby, can you please see if she's in the restroom, or whatever it happens to be.
In defense of the receptionists, they are extremely
Yeah.
busy up there.
No.
And they've got a whole bunch of calls, but they almost always don't even just call, a lot of times they'll walk back to my
Yeah.
office to tell
Yeah.
me, so I think they're doing a really good job.
Well, they are.
I mean, they
Especially,
might have a whole lot of.
especially Annette, she's doing really good.
What's up with the escrow funds? Because when I call there, it's hard to get a hold of Summer sometimes.
Yep, and that's another one of the things when we get all these phones combined. We did have, was it a week and a half ago? It's another one of those logistical problems that we just kind of failed on when we did our conversion. We have a special escrow phone number, okay? And when we did our conversion, we kind of forgot about that. So if you had a set of escrow instructions and it said whatever the number was on there, and you called that, that phone number wasn't ordered into the system. We had the same problem in Redlands and the same problem in Claremont. So anyway, we've got that part figured out. One of the reasons I want to have kind of a common receptionist could potentially deal with that. I don't see Summer this morning. I don't know if she's coming in late or she's in Redlands or where the heck she is. But if a call comes in looking for escrow, the common receptionist will know that. That's an escrow call. They'll be able to pick that up. They'll be able to hit her extension or whatever it happens to be. I think we've got most of the technical issues resolved with that. But again, if you're experiencing that, if you can't get a hold of escrow for whatever reason during what our normal business hours, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and you're chronically getting voicemail or it's going into the abyss, which is what was happening, a week and a half ago, please let us know that. And it's either going to be a staffing issue or it's a technical issue. But I think technically we've got most of that squared away now.
And then she's gonna be gone on Mondays always to Redlands, yeah?
Shouldn't be.
Oh,
She
no?
she may just be gone. If she's going to begin Redlands at all on Mondays, it'll just be for a couple hours in the morning.
Oh, okay.
But Summer should be in this office for the most part daily. And she's been busy. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about escrow later. I really cannot thank you guys enough for supporting Summer. I think she's doing a bang-up job. I haven't heard any major issues specifically that I could lay at the feet of Summer. But, she's awesome. I agree. I mean, I'll be the first one to say, one of my challenges with escrow for years, and one of the reasons we haven't had an in-house escrow for years, is because I had pretty damn high standards. I want my escrow officer to be honest. And full disclosure, when we brought Summer on, I was a little concerned that she wasn't going to live up to the standards that we needed. And frankly, had I realized she was as good as I see she is now, I would have hired her a year earlier. Because I personally think she's that good. And we're here. There we go. We've got a couple fans here. Someone put a hand up. Yeah, people.
Does she have a phone that she can put our calls on hold and take another?
Yes.
You can do that now.
It's not just a one line?
You can do that now. All the
Her
phones
phone
can do
is the
that.
same as your phones. How many we can put? 3?
Three.
On hold? You can have 3 calls at home. And again, as she gets busier, and I think right now Summer has about 20 at open escrows, which I don't know if that sounds like a lot or little to you guys, but I'm telling you, that's a lot of volume coming out of this office, and she's handling it fantastic. If we continue to support Summer the way we have, even though you may kind of say, well, I think Burke, she has an assistant in Bernie, that's kind of sort of true, but there'll be a second Summer, so to speak. She'll have that assistant and that ability basically to make sure those phones get called and you're answered and you don't have people on hold waiting or getting voicemail. So, but again, it does have something to do with our phone system, and as we completely, I'm thinking, I hope this is the case, actually I hope this is already the case, but Brian and I talk about this a lot. I'm hoping within the next 60 days, all the phones are done, they're completely operational, and you guys will just be so happy you'll be pigs in mud. It'll just like, this system is the best. Have we deployed anybody's home phone yet?
No.
Okay. I know we've been talking about that. I know a few of you have requested, or the Delgados have asked for one, and I think if you guys, okay, well I know the Delgados want one, Stephen wants one. We've kind of, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit on that. We've kind of, Brian has said, let's just wait till we get all these other issues resolved. I've been using one at home. A couple of our managers have been using one. It is flawless. It is so slick. And I told Brian, jump on the Delgados, because I think you were the first one in, or maybe Stephen was the second one in to say I want one. So
Yeah, I got a list. There's probably about 7 or 8 agents that want
we'll
it.
try to get those deployed. And I tell you, you guys are going to love it. You really should love it. And it's been solid. Anything else on the phones or related phone stuff? No? Okay. I just still go back on our calendar. If you're still not trained to go look at our calendar, please go look at our calendar. We're starting to put some more stuff. We're training for, the last month was a little dark. I am gonna throw some stuff on the calendar for the rest of this month. We've got, I can't remember who it is, but there's somebody who wants to do something which I think is of value. We'll put that on the calendar. I think I'm gonna do a short sale class and a listing presentation class within the next couple of weeks. So I'll get an email out, but check the calendar as well in case
It'd be
you.
nice to have somebody come do a new features of the MLS, since they've updated it so much.
We can do that.
James
And they just, did anybody go to the one that they just did at the board?
Yeah, they scheduled it wrong.
What did
I
they
went
just
there and they're
schedule
like,
wrong?
oh, the teacher that was there, he's like, oh, I came for something else. I guess they missed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've seen the one that they do at the board. It's good. And they will come out and do it for us.
There's a lot of changes.
So, Drew, write that down.
Yeah, there's gotta be some cool stuff in there that we don't even
Somebody
know
write that
about.
down. And we'll get them to come out. Again, check the portals if you haven't already. We haven't done this. I'm going to keep this on my presentation just to force me to do it. We talked last month about us doing some Google AdWords on our website. We haven't actually pulled the trigger on it, but we will. I'm still getting this. Since our last meeting, I had an additional Google Places things come in. So I'm going to say this again, and I will continue to say this. If you are going to Google and you want to be a place, you cannot be 23631 Sunnymead Boulevard. You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, good. Don't do it. If you do know what I'm talking about, please, you cannot make this bill. In other words, if someone searches Cobalt Banker, Moreno Valley, and you are a Google place, I don't want Stephen Amaya to show up as this location.
Mine's just sending me Boulevard, it's not this location.
Can't do it, guys. I'm unwavering in this, okay? It's just too damn confusing. It's too confusing. We've got 75 agents here. Everybody wants to be here. A consumer goes and looks for Cobalt Banker in Moreno Valley, and they've got 75 push pins on Sunnymead Boulevard. Not gonna work. And I'm just not gonna allow it. So if that rubs anybody wrong, I apologize, but we can't do it that way. It just doesn't work. Okay, some sales awards. Let's start off with our top listing agent. Okay, raise your hand if you took more than one listing last month. You did? Okay, I'm not pulling these up right. 2, keep your hand up. 3, 2.
What about Diane? She probably took 15.
I must be not looking at these properly. I ran a report last night. I saw a few agents with the most listings taken was 1. So you took 2 in the month of June?
But I didn't put it in the MLS.
Ah, and you've got 2?
Yeah, one of them's multi-residence, and maybe that's why 2 didn't pull up.
You gotta cross.
Oh, that's
cross-
possible. Okay, all right. Well, then Stephen would be our top listing agent. Having said that, as you all know, the number of listings taken, not just in this office, but throughout the board, is just really, really tough. I mean, we really need some inventory in a bad way. So anyway, we'll recognize Stephen next month. But along those lines,
Hey.
June 2012, with high volume and number of closings, is Stephen Meyer. Come on in, bro.
Right on the table next to your computer.
Aha. Congratulations. All right, man. Had a good June.
Nice.
There you go,
How many?
Mr. Amaya. It was 5 transactions for $25,000 or something like that in GCI, which isn't too shabby. Frankly, Leandra had a good month as well. Same 5 transactions, but the volume was not a little bit. It was much less than Stephen. So Stephen rose to the top with his volume. Oops.
5 is 5, though.
And then we had a mistake last month. We, come on, Danny. I don't see Teresa, so you can come on up. Danny actually was our top sales agent for May. I actually awarded our sales agent to Wilson by mistake. So I have gone into Wilson's office, I have pulled his plaque off the wall, and we have
White out on it.
given it to the Delgado team. So congratulations, Danny. I'm learning how to do this stuff. These reports are harder to read than you think. So, at any rate, we had a very good June closing month as an office. Okay, and congratulations to the guys that came up on top, and we had several that were in the thick. A lot of people closing 2 and 3 transactions, and I think a couple even closed 4. Lead router, I went into Lead Router today, there are only 11 people that are eligible for Lead Router leads right now, 11. I have only had 3 people that were kind of cut out of the list that said, hey, come in and add me back in. All of those people have been added back in. We still only have 11 that are eligible. Now, having said that, there's 27 or 28 that are eligible, but 15, 16, 17 of those are in the red and they're just not picking up. And granted, the leads are much less than they were, a year or 2 ago, but we distributed 6 leads yesterday. So, at any rate, if you're one of those 11, then yes.
I have a big complaint about
Complaint?
that. 90% of the calls I get do not tell you where they're at, how much they are, anything. It just says, we have a lead.
Okay.
And so I'm rejecting them because every time I do accept them, they're 50,000.
Well, you
So-
and I may want to talk about your business plan. But, okay, well, there's 2 reasons that there's not enough information there. The first reason is call center's not doing their job. Okay, they're either not getting the information, or they're not asking the right questions, or they're getting it and they're not filling out the right information. Or, which I would think at least 50% of those are going to be consumers that are just, give me the basic. I mean, we've all had those calls, right? This is what I'm looking for, and I want someone to call me right
But
away.
it has the information once you accept it, so it should be able to give you that information.
And the city.
Say that again?
Yeah, the CD, because I got one in Indio and I accepted it and I was like, oh my God, for
That-
50,000, I'm not
That,
gonna
that,
drive
that
to
might be
India.
actually that there's nobody that wants that area and everybody else has excluded it, so it's falling back onto the
Right.
man of last resort.
But
Well-
it's
well,
not
let's-
telling us where it's coming from,
initially it
but
just
when
says
you,
you have a new lead, press 1 to accept this lead,
Right.
but it's not giving you the
Sometimes
information.
it's really
Yeah.
detailed, and sometimes it's not.
Okay, well, I don't know,
No, it's
okay,
not.
there have been some technical issues, Stephen had some issues, are those resolved? Okay, good. There was some goofy stuff going on. When you're getting that type of stuff, let me know. I can very easily go in and take a look at that specifically. The Indio example, for example, if you don't want to accept anything in Indio, I mean, you guys need to let me know. I think we've done that for most of you. Shelley frankly did this for most of you months and months and months back. So if you get that type of lead and you just don't want it, let me know, because I need to go in and tighten up what you're willing to
It may
accept.
also have to do with the fact that they might not be keying it in for Indio. We may not even have a number for Indio assigned.
Possible.
And so it might go into out of area,
Right.
and then a lot of people might have out of area assigned. Because I got one on 4th of July for, I want to say it was Cabazon for $50,000. Like, I'm going to run to Cabazon on 4th of July for $50,000. I don't think so. So I passed, and then I got the same lead again on Thursday morning, so it still had, no one else had accepted it either.
Right.
But
That was one for like
I got
50,000
one
in San
yesterday
Diego,
for
too.
$1.
You ever
San
listen
Diego.
in San Diego for like 50 grand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Black
we've got
Mountain.
some quirky stuff going on. We've got, I don't know where, I don't see Tom. Tom Romo's got a short sale in San Diego. Phone's ringing off the hook on it.
Yeah.
He wants to work San Diego. I'm not sure where the Indio stuff is coming from, but there are a lot of these leads. I mean, I've been getting strange ones, or I'll have somebody will call me on a listing that we sold 3 years ago. And I'm like, where in the heck? Well, I found it on, some found it on Zillow or whatever it happens to be. I'm like, wow, that thing was sold 3 years ago. The call center, they have those challenges, because if they're calling on a listing that's not in our system as an active listing or whatever it happens to be, they're not going to be able to find it. Now, they should put down the city, and they should be able to get some basic information. I'm with you that this can be frustrating, and I don't want to sound unsympathetic, but who's familiar with sitting on floor time? Okay, well, for those of us that have been doing this for a while, sitting on floor time, you weed out the crap, guys. They're not all going to be gems. You're going to have some garbage. And if you choose to reject them because the price is too low, I get that. I totally understand. Or if you choose to reject them because it's too far away. If you want to avoid that frustration, that's easy. You come to me, you say, I do not want a lead that's less than $50,000, or I don't want a lead that's interested in anything less than 100. We just click the boxes that you won't accept that, and then you'll never get that call again. Having said that, I would still be careful before you guys start walking away from these $50,000 cash buyers.
It still sends them, even if they said they don't want it, if there's no one else.
It will, really?
Yeah.
It will still send them?
Remember we went through that in the sales meeting. If there is no one that will take Indio, then it'll say, all right, then everyone gets Indio.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, well, we may be able to change some of those settings, and if there's areas that nobody wants, then they'll come to me. And then I'll find somebody that'll go to Indio or whatever. Or by the way, we haven't really discussed this, but let's use the Indio example. Obviously, we don't have, to my knowledge, we don't have an agent that's actively working the Indio market. If you guys get one of those leads, and the best solution for that is to refer that to an Indio broker,
Diane's working Indio.
then
I have 7 transactions going on in India.
there's our Indio expert. Okay, let's go a little farther south. Let's
You're on lead router, so the calls for your stuff are probably coming in through lead router.
There you go.
there you have it. So
keep
there's
it
our
fast.
Indio source. So if Diane wants to work that, because I forgot that but let's not use Diane's example. Let's go down to, okay, we're now down in Mexicali. Okay, you get a lead that comes into Mexicali. We have determined that nobody in the office works Mexicali. Robin gets that lead. If you want to refer that lead to Coldwell Banker Mexicali Real Estate and try to pick up a 20% referral, do that. We'll forget about the lead router referral. You don't have to pay the lead router referral. We'll just get rid of that. And develop some relationships, guys. I mean, that's what this is about.
So you just probably want to caveat though with, that's like way out of area. That's not like, okay, I just got a lead for San Bernardino and I want to go to San Bernardino.
Right.
So I'm going to call a San Bernardino agent that I know and I'm going to get the referral and I'm going to cut Lance out. That's not what you're saying.
That's not what we're saying. Obviously, if it's San Bernardino and you don't want it, we've got 38 agents or 32 agents in Redlands who would love San Bernardino. Frankly, there's probably 30 agents in this office that would love San Bernardino.
I believe you can, even if you accept it and you find out it's a bad one, you can return it to the broker.
Yep.
And no penalty, right?
No penalty.
Or if you get one for San Gabriel Valley or for LA, we've got an office in
The
Covina.
Covina office is, they're chomping at it. Doesn't I know Stephen goes out that direction, he used to live out there, but, but again, if you're getting those leads and you don't want them, then you either return them, like Paul said, or get them to one of the other offices, or, again, my Mexicali example, you guys use your judgment on it. I mean, we're smart people here. I mean, refer it out, let me know, hey, I just sent this lead over here, there's gonna be a referral coming in, it came from the lead router, it's in Mexicali, and we're not gonna nickel dime you over that. I will close this topic by saying the following. I don't think most of us in this office right now have so much business going on that anybody can afford to reject a lead. I'll just leave that little nugget there for you to think about. So
I want to just add one thing. I don't know if you're like me, but I hate sitting down and doing the follow-up. So I have to like carve a special couple of hours out, and I do it once a week or twice a week just to follow up on all my lead router leads and all my buyer leads, people I've gotten auto emails, all that, people I haven't heard from for a while. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to do that, you're constantly going red, you really need to get out of that habit. I had a gal call in for lead router right after I stepped down. It was like the beginning of April, and she called on somebody else's listing. She found it through Zillow. Somehow she got to us. She was rude. She didn't want to talk to me, and so I almost made her cold, like right off the bat. And I thought, no, I can't do that. I got to do 3 calls to her. So I made the second call, got a voicemail. I made the third call, got a voicemail. For some reason, I didn't kill her. I kept her in my system. And I made like the 5th call. She answered right away, and she was looking in Apple Valley, and so or Cherry Valley, sorry. She was looking in Cherry Valley, and I had just sold a house in Cherry Valley and it had fallen out of escrow. So I pitched it to her. I actually left her a message, pitched it to her. She called me back 10 minutes later and she said, I'm interested in that house. That would be a good house for me. Can you meet me there tonight at 6 o'clock? And I said, yeah, okay. So I did. Be darned if we didn't write the offer on it, got it accepted the next day. It's a $300,000 transaction. So you got to follow up on it.
So
but
there's your Apple Valley agent.
Cherry Valley.
Cherry Valley.
Whatever.
She's on
Okay.
Apple Tree in Cherry Valley.
Okay. Who does not want to sell a house in Cherry Valley? There's somebody in this office that won't go to Cherry Valley, I guarantee it. Okay? Cherry Valley, Apple Valley. I'm telling you, I don't know. It won't. Hey, when we used to do our open houses, when we were doing all the auction open houses, we'd have properties in Riverside that we had listed for $400,000. and we put those out to the agents, and everyone would want to hold open the property on Pan Am for 110. I'm not kidding you. I'd have 8 agents lined up. I want to hold open Pan Am. Well, I really need somebody for this $400,000, off of Van Buren. Wow. Okay. Anyway, everyone's got a business plan. Okay. A little bit of market data. I'm going to buzz through this because this is, I think most of us are probably just feel this more than anything else. This is the report. This is CRMLS from last month. This is 30 days. Same exact report that we looked at, a month ago, showing median price was down 4.1%. This was May over May 2011. Actually, this goes back to May 2010. Here's the most current report. You can't really see that, but it says property values. The other slide said down 4%. This slide says up 4%. We're going to see price increases. I think I said this last month. If I didn't say it here, I said it in another sales meeting. I think we're going to see significant price increases. And I've got a lot of reservations about how valid those price increases are going to be, but whether I think they're valid and legitimate is irrelevant.
What about appraisals, though?
Well, the appraisals in theory would keep that in check, but there are so many cash buyers out there right now willing to pay above list. Well, I've got investors calling us. Move forward a little bit.
There's finance buyers that'll pay over list with cash.
Right.
If the appraisal is
right, paying over. And even the investors. I mean, I'm having investors call me. Matter of fact, I've got a meeting with one next week, a big one, which may be a huge benefit to this office. We'll see how this goes. But they're calling me now saying, hey, what do you got? Give me anything you got. And I'm like, well, geez, what's your business plan? 60% on the, or 60 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar. What's it going to take? Oh no, we'll pay retail. Then keep in mind, these people, these investors are buying not to flip, they're buying to hold, which gets to our slide about where the rental values are. So there's a lot of investors buying retail. If you've been talking to anybody who's buying houses at the courthouse step, I think I mentioned this previously as well with the Norris Group. They're so frustrated, can't buy anything at the courthouse steps because the people that are buying them at the courthouse steps are paying retail.
Same deal.
That is true.
Right, paying retail.
Yeah.
So at any rate, I think from an appraisal standpoint, I think the cash buyers and the investor buyers will drive the prices up, and the appraisers will have the comps that they're looking for.
Well, I've had several with the appraisals where I didn't think it was going to appraise $30,000, $40,000, and it did.
Right. Well, we've had a few that haven't, but at any rate, we've seen prices increase. And again, just from 1 month, we saw a 5% jump. And I know this is median price, and there's all sorts of reasons why median price may not be the best price range to look at. But just within the last month, we've seen a 5% increase. I'm sure next month that green bar is going to start just popping up.
It's marching too. It's just every month.
Well, if you look from here, and again, it makes sense because if you go to the next slide, well, let's go to the next slide. As this goes down, right? Go back, go back, go back. This should go up. Simple supply and demand, guys. So, I mean, and we are definitely seeing it. Again, I'm not going to get on my high horse as to whether it's artificial or whether it's proper or whether we're creating a new pricing bubble. Because I do think it's artificial, I do think it's improper, I do think we're creating a new pricing bubble. But who am I? Here we are. Yeah, who said that? Here we are. Get on the train and get out there and take advantage of it. Okay, this is the numbers. I can't get behind the speakers. This is the numbers. This is CRMLS, 33,000 properties for sale. That's about a 40% drop. This was a year ago, we had 58,000. 2 years ago, we had 60. Pending units are great. We're still selling properties. We had a good, this is June numbers, by the way. So from a standpoint of opening escrows, we opened 10,000 compared to 7,800 a year ago, compared to 7,000 2 years ago. We're opening escrows. Who's opening escrows? All right, we're opening escrows. It's a good thing. We're closing escrows, 8,600 compared to 8,000 compared to 7,400. So June over June over June, we had a better June in closings. So if you've been out working, you should be opening and closing escrows, right? Stephen, top sales agent, Leandra, taking names. Several in here are closing 2 or 3 escrows. I know Team Linda Google's been taking names and kicking butt, and Bill Delgado's and Diane and all the rest of that. So anyway, we're opening escrows. That's good news. Again, big challenge. This is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Inventory is down, extremely down. I'm a little confused. I need to call the people at Broker Metrics to find out why these reports seem to change month over month. If you were paying attention last month, what was that number? Anybody remember? 1.6. Okay. The inventory has gone down, yet the supply has actually gone up. I think that's in part because our sales number of pendings have gone down a little bit. So don't get too hung up on that, because this number is also tied to what we actually have under contract. So it's calculating what's available based upon what's under contract. So there are basically a little less properties under escrow or in escrow. But this is CRMLS, 1.8 months, unhealthy, big problem. We are truly running out of properties to sell. This is Moreno Valley. Property values are completely flat in Moreno Valley, but if you look at what Shelley just pointed out, the trend from February through till June is up. Property values in Moreno Valley are going to go up. Why are they going to go up? Because we literally have nothing to sell. And we're really, really struggling. This is Moreno Valley's numbers. There's 267 properties under contract right now. That's less than the month before, and generally speaking, it's a little bit better than where we were. It's actually better than where we were in June of last year and June of a year ago. But this is where we're starting to experience some of the trouble. The closed escrows in Moreno, this is Moreno Valley now. The closed escrows are down to 197. The closed escrows will be down again next month, and they will be down again the following month in this city. Why is that? We don't have anything to sell. Drew ran this report this morning. As of 8 o'clock this morning, there are 211 houses for sale in the entire city.
And 75% of them aren't even for sale.
Or at least you can't
They're
get in.
unsellable for whatever
Or
reason.
they're active, they're showing active on the market, but the agent's got 5 offers already submitted to the bank, and he's just holding it active because
Good
he wants
deal,
more
more
pay.
offers.
Yeah, because you can't put it on hold anymore without getting booted out every other day.
You also can't, you put it on pending, it boots out of your website in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
It does.
Put
It goes into
it
pending.
on backup.
Well, this is a big problem, guys. I mean, let's just face it. This is a big problem. I don't know if I didn't, so I'll go back to this slide for a minute. Anybody have an idea of how many properties we had on the market 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago in the
Well,
city?
in a similar market to this, we'd run about 12 to 1,400 units back in 98, 99.
And even a little higher. When I used to keep these stats before this was so readily available in Broker Metrics, and I did it for about 2 years running, back when I was doing all the training in the Moreno Valley, the other office on Atlantic before we were Coldwell Banker, and actually we might have been Coldwell Banker. But anyway, we were running between 1,500 and 2,000 active listings at any given time. And we were selling around 300 to 350 a month. And that's about a 6-month-ish, 6-7 month supply of inventory. Which again, not that any are is quotable, but that's considered healthy. Needless to say, 211 in this city, which by the way, maybe that Indio buyer is not looking so bad right now. I mean, if obviously, if we're going to have any sort of decent third and fourth quarter this year, we certainly can't count on Moreno Valley to be 100% of our transactional business, because there's just not enough business here. You better start looking at Riverside and Paris and Banning, Beaumont and Cherry Valley and whatever it happens to be. And I don't know that this is going to change. It also is a pretty interesting commentary on Moreno Valley, just how distressed our marketplace is, and how we have still so very few standard sales. Whether it's REO business, which is just seems to be on hold, and the short sale sellers, which seem to be comfortable, not short selling, which was interesting. So, anyway, that's the Moreno Valley numbers. I just keep throwing this chart up. These investors are looking at this chart, and this is why investors are willing to buy and hold and pay retail. And again, this chart, I want to get an updated one. It's just killing me that I don't have one, but this chart's 9 months old now. But somebody's looking at this data from an investor standpoint and say it's time to buy and hold. Any thoughts on the numbers? Anybody got any words of wisdom?
Well, I looked at an article. Blackstone is trying to buy huge volumes of properties to hold,
Right.
and they want to sell them as mutual funds, RET or
Is that
RIT.
Carl Icahn's company? Is that Blackstone?
I don't know if that's if that's his company or whatever, but my dad sent me an article about that. So, I mean, they're actively pursuing these huge blocks of homes just to keep as rental units
Who's getting calls from investors that say they want to buy lots and lots of properties?
all day, every day.
I've gotten many of them, and it's all buy and hold strategy. I think some of them are big players that are looking at this Fannie Freddie bulk sale stuff, but others are courthouse step buyers. We had, and I don't know if it's Blackstone, I should know this, Realogy, parent company of Coldwell Banker and all the rest of that sort of stuff. One of their principal financiers is Carl Icahn, who I think is Blackstone or Blackwell or Black something or other.
Black hole.
And they, he is actually funding investors. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, I have an appointment next Friday with a local investor who's already bought 1,100 properties in the Inland Empire, wants to buy thousands more, and the funding that this investor has is basically through Carl Icahn's group, which is obviously invested in Realogy, and he owns 75–80% of the debt on the company. So guess where his investors have to go to buy the properties? They got to come to a Realogy brand franchise. So I'm meeting with them in this office next Friday at 11 o'clock.
What does that do for us?
Put a suit on.
Buy and hold
Well-
situation, how does that?
Well, because they need buyer representation next Friday in this office at 11 o'clock.
Put a
I'm
suit
going to
on.
tie that day, maybe be in the lobby, maybe hover around my office a little
I'm
bit.
gonna donuts.
Next Friday in this office at 11 o'clock. So they wanted to buy a couple more thousand properties during this cycle. And I don't want to pretend there's any exclusivity going on here, but they seem to, one of the benefits, we're starting to see some benefits of our growth as a company, Moreno Valley, Redlands, Claremont, Covina, Santa Ana, that gets these people's attention. They think we've got a pretty good market area covered, and we do. And it tends to give us a little bit of a leg up as opposed to the single brand company in Moreno Valley who maybe can't service San Bernardino or Fontana maybe as well. So at any rate, next Friday, 11 o'clock, in my office. Wear your tie. So, all right, a little bit of news.
And a short skirt.
You guys need to know about this. We talked about this, I think, 2 months ago. Who is against clean air and clean water? 3 of us. Okay, I am against clean air and clean water. Pretty tough position to take. When anybody in the legislature names a bill, the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act or the Homeowner Bill of Rights Act, it seems politically difficult to vote against that, even if the content of that bill is crap. I use a clean air and clean water. I don't know if those bills are good or bad or otherwise, but if there's something within that bill that says this is bad, I'm not against clean air, I'm not against clean water, but this bill is not the right way to do it. It's amazing how those bills tend to get passed. Well, State of California Attorney General, I mentioned this to you 3 months ago, put together a package of bills, titled them the Homeowner Bill of Rights. California Association of Realtors opposed this. I opposed it. I don't know if any of you had any general feelings about it one way or the other. But if you recall, we talked about this a couple months ago. These were the bills that were modeled on the Nevada laws that were passed about a year ago. If you've been paying attention to the Nevada market, what's been happening to the Nevada market? Inventory levels are, our inventory levels are already. What this passed the Senate and it passed the Assembly, and I believe Governor Brown is going to sign, if he hasn't already, I think he's going to sign this in the next week. This is bad. This is not good news for us.
Unless you plan on not paying your mortgage anymore.
Well, basically what this does is it puts a lid on the bank's ability, not just necessarily to foreclose. Part of it is the dual tracking, and this is why if you read through it in the beginning, you may say, this sounds good, I'm in favor of this. One of the things that it prohibits the banks from doing is a dual tracking process. I'm working with you on a loan mod, but I'm also pursuing a foreclosure, okay? I'm working with you on a short sale, but I'm also pursuing foreclosure. We've all had these experiences, and they've all been negative. I was a week away from closing my short sale, and what happened? Went to foreclosure. Okay, now Now, whether the bank was exercising their rights and did the right thing, and whether the consumers got shafted on that, we'll leave that aside. But enough of that was happening, and enough consumers were complaining, that the legislator said, okay, no more dual tracking. You can't do that.
I'm sorry, are you saying that they can't have the loan mod and a short sale going on at the same time?
No, they can't have a loan mod and a foreclosure process going on at the same time. If they're gonna loan mod you, they have to say,
stop the
your
foreclosure.
loan mod is denied, now I'm gonna foreclose on
Is
you.
that gonna apply to the short sale process?
Yes, it's also applied, which is why some people say, hey, that's good, I like that idea. But it also, some of the other, that's the clean air example. We all could look at that as short sale experts and say, I like that part of this bill. That's, we're working on the short sale, we're committed to it, and we don't want to have the threat of a foreclosure, tomorrow, whatever it happens to be. So this bill would prohibit that, which in theory would be a good thing. But there's a whole bunch of other things in there. The main thing, to be honest with you, I really don't like, it now gives everybody, every homeowner now has the right to sue. Now has the right to sue over anything to do with their loan package, okay? There's a term for it, I can't remember exactly what it is, but the concern that CAR has, and I believe is an accurate concern, is I think we will very shortly be driving down the road listening to KFI or whatever news channel you're listening to, and right now you get the commercials for the attorneys coming on about, yeah. I think now we're going to say, hey, California just passed the Homeowners Bill of Rights. If you fall into these categories, give us a call, and for $300, we'll file a lawsuit against the lender. This is what's been going on in Florida. This is what's been going on in Nevada. And if you look at their market as it relates to the properties in default, granted our numbers are really, really long. Well, their numbers have just exponentially exploded. And I don't know, there doesn't seem to be an appetite for sellers to do short sales for some reason right now.
They're not incentivized to do short sales.
Because they can stay.
Right.
And this is going to allow them to stay even longer. So I personally think this is a disaster. I really, really think this is bad, because it's not going to expedite or do anything to expedite the foreclosure process. And I agree with what Shelley just said. With this in play, I just think it gives, who went door knocking with me 3 weeks ago? Is there anybody in this room? Okay. We knocked on 10 doors, we talked to 5 or 6 people. The people every door that we knocked on, these people, we went to Foreclosure Radar, and we looked at people that were in default, and I purposely chose people that had notice of sales filed. And they were going to sale within like 10 days of the time we're knocking on the door. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you were with me. We did not knock on one door that the owner was stressed out, or there wasn't any boxes, or there was no sense of urgency. It was the exact opposite. It was like looks like they were just inviting us over for a barbecue.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. And no, just so you understand, you've got a sale date scheduled for next Thursday.
So
It's okay. We've got
it's a
that all figured out.
mistake.
Hey, you're just like crazy with your.
You clicking? Oops. But anyway, there was no urgency. There was no issues. There was no sense of anything. There was no sense of panic. Normally you kind of expect somebody to stand up and say, this is, yeah, I'm stressed out, or get the hell off my porch, or whatever happens. I got to tell you, the last time I went knocking doors for short sales was probably 9 months before that. It was a different reception. Even if they told you to get off the porch and to F off, you could sense a sense of urgency and a sense of a little bit of a panic. I didn't see that the last couple of weeks. And frankly, I think it ties back into this number. This number. How many short sale listings should we have on the market right now? Thousands. There should be thousands. There are at least 1,000 properties listed right now, active short sales. And we knocked on 6, 7 doors. Every single one of those properties should have been listed. Every single one of those properties should have been listed, and not one of them was.
The banks aren't properly incentivizing a seller to do a short sale.
Right.
Wilson has an approval from yesterday that his seller is getting 20 grand back from Chase.
Yeah.
But Chase likes to keep that a secret. He says Bank of America's got the same program, but they really keep it a secret.
Right.
So what's the point?
Well, they're keeping it a secret. By the way, you preempted me a little bit with Chase. We're going to talk a little bit about Chase short sales here before the end of the meeting. But they keep it a secret because it's not across the board. It's not a, hey, everybody who has a loan with Chase gets $30,000. You know, you might get 30, you might get 10, you don't get any. And it has to do with the type of loan, when it was originated, what the, you know, there's some algorithm somewhere.
But if they would let us know what that algorithm was,
Well,
that would be
maybe next month we'll have a better idea, because we're gonna have Chase back, we're gonna do another event, and they're gonna bring their short sale department in, and we're going to, you know, we're gonna try to end this meeting on a positive note with what can we do about some of these numbers, but we'll talk about that. But this, when Shelley talks about incentives, in my opinion, this is not helpful to our real estate market. It's really not helpful, so we shall see. Who knows anybody selling properties in San Bernardino? You familiar with this? Have you heard anything about it? Well, you need to know about it. San Bernardino has a proposal, and you know, normally when you think of, I mean, the last time I had a serious discussion about eminent domain was probably 25 years ago when I was trying to figure out what it meant for my real estate exam. Okay? Eminent domain, the city, the government's authority to go in and say, hey, we need to take these 35 properties because we need to put an off-ramp to the freeway. It's in the common interest of the public, and they have the right to come in and basically eminent domain your property, take it from you, compensate you for it, of course, and then put in the off-ramp to the freeway. Okay, everybody do one of those? I've only done one. I had the Caltrans eminent domain a property off of Indian Overpass. They didn't take the whole property, they took 30 feet of the backyard, and somehow I got involved. The seller got $90,000 for losing 30 feet of his backyard, and that was that. But at any rate, what San Bernardino was proposing, who's familiar with this, by the way? Okay, less than half of you. What San Bernardino was proposing, and the reason we're going to take a minute or two to talk about it here, because I think that this is going to catch root somewhere, okay? And if it does catch root in San Bernardino, which it seems to be fading a little bit, it very well may take place here, Los Angeles, San Bernardino, some other place, just like this homeowner Bill of Rights thing, who a year or two ago, we never would have thought a bill like that could have passed. But anyway, the gist of this, and by the way, they're not tearing down houses. That's probably a bad picture for me to have chosen. What San Bernardino County is proposing is they're going to go in and say, these properties have loan balances of X, value of Y, and they're going to eminent domain the mortgage. Basically come in and say, if you have a mortgage, Chase, B of A, ABC Company, Fannie Freddie, whatever it happens to be, they're, through the city or the county's eminent domain powers, are going to wipe those mortgages out.
What?
Now, the update, though, there was another update with that. Fannie, Freddie, and some other lenders exempt from that.
Right. Well, let me, you're right. There's all sorts of little exemptions. But this would be the deal. They would eminent domain the mortgage. And there's some question as to whether Fannie and Freddie and FHA would say, no, you can't do that because we're bigger on the government ladder than the County of San Bernardino. Then the homeowner would come in and say, okay, the homeowner now has to refinance. They go to Ryan and they say, hey, I want to get a loan on this property, and the city just wiped out my $400,000 loan, and Ryan gets it appraised and it's $200,000, and then they refinance the property for $200,000. And now that property has a loan balance of $200,000. So,
Well, no wonder they're called bankrupt.
Yeah, they are.
so, and there's all sorts of other little fingers to it. There's sorts of restrictions. One of the things which is ironic is in order to qualify for the program, you have to be current on your mortgage, which is almost seems against the entire purpose. So if I'm behind on my mortgage, I can't do this, but if I'm current, I can qualify. But again, I'm sure there may be one or two of you in the room that say, this doesn't sound bad, this might be a solution. Who knows? Chris Sorensen? Anybody know who that guy is? Anybody follow the Inland Empire Real Estate Investor Guide? He's got the good-looking guy with the American flag. Looks like he's running for president or something like that. Anyway, this guy loves this sort of stuff. I don't know who Chris is. I met him once. I was on a panel with him once. I don't know what he does. I don't know how he makes money. But this guy thinks this is great, and he is spreading the seeds. If you're a Facebooker, you're following Inland Empire Real Estate stuff. You know, if you listen to Chris, he thinks this is the way to go. I'm telling you, this sucks. This is another major problem. And my concern, and by the way, CAR, Inland Valley Association of Realtors, of course the mortgage bankers, all of the finance folks are saying no, and fighting this tooth and nail.
So you have to be over encumbered, and and you have to live in San Bernardino County,
Right.
you have to be current on your mortgage.
Right.
But what else? I mean, does everybody qualify who's underwater? Because there's a whole lot of them.
Well, ultimately you would, and this is, and I'm gonna, I don't know all of the what else's, but there's a bunch of what else's.
Okay, so you probably
But-
can't make your mortgage payment, but you've been able to, can't qualify for it again. So those of us that do make our mortgage payment on time every month won't qualify. Once
Correct.
again, we're just paying.
Basically, if
for
you
everybody
want it, you
else.
can't have it.
Correct.
Sorry, I'll get off my.
Well, but at the same time, who thinks principal reduction is a great idea? And yes, this is a trick question, so if you don't want to be tricked, don't raise your hand. But if you think principal reduction is a good idea and a solution to solve some of our mortgage, and by the way, right now, that proposition is gaining popularity. Okay? A few years ago, the thought of Fannie and Freddie, which by the way, currently Fannie and Freddie are no, we're not going to do principal reduction. But, you know, there's nothing to stop, you know, Chase on their portfolio loans. They're their loans. They can do whatever the hell they want with them. They're their loans. Okay? But at any rate, as unpopular of a notion that might have been a few years ago, it's becoming more and more popular. There's more and more stuff happening on it. This is my core opposition to principal reduction, and just so everyone knows what we're talking about. I owe $400,000 on my house. It's worth $200,000. I want to do a loan mod, and they mod me down to $200,000, and now they forgive the other $200,000. Okay, that's a simple explanation of principal reduction. Like this eminent domain issue, this is my core problem with it. I live next door to Chris Lee. We have the same house. I was a responsible homeowner. I didn't go out and buy the boat and the RV, and I didn't take vacations, and I didn't overindulge. And I have a loan amount of $200,000. Chris, on the other hand, has refied, or maybe bought at the wrong time, and bought a new boat and a new RV, and he's always on vacation and having barbecues and spending money like he's got it. He qualifies for a principal reduction. They take him down to $200,000. We talk about it at the barbecue, and of course he's bragging about it. You're not going to believe what just happened, man. And you know what my response to that is? Bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is why this isn't fair. It's not fair to the other gigantic percentage of homeowners who have done the right thing, and not, or forget about whether you thought you use your house as an ATM and you bought the boat and the RV and all the rest of that sort of stuff. What if you made a mistake by deciding to buy your house in 2006? I looked at the market in 2006 and said, no, I'm not going to buy. You were wrong, I was right. Well, that's, again, it's like buying a stock. You know, last I checked, if your stock goes down, the people who lost money on the stock can't go to the bank, oh, can you give me that money back? So at any rate.
Isn't DeMarco supporting what you're saying?
DeMarco is the director of FHFA, who oversees Fannie and Freddie and HUD in the conservatorship right now. DeMarco is opposed to principal reduction.
I thought he was flirting with it.
For now.
Oh.
And I don't know that he's flirting with it, but he is being lobbied heavily by all sorts of people. You know, and again, it gets back to this home ownership thing. If this was a stockholder's bill of rights, generally people will say stockholder, I mean, we're not going to protect the stockholder.
How about a car owner's bill of rights?
Stocks, you lost
Read
money,
the
tough.
dealership, you
But
lost
because it's a
30%.
homeowner issue, it just tends to have that more personal, we're going to throw people out of their houses type of thing, which is tough because nobody wants to throw people out of houses, except for me. I do. If you can't make your mortgage, you got to go. Go rent a house and then clean yourself up and then buy another one. I personally think it is the most humane thing to do. If you've got somebody who owes $500,000 on a house that's worth $220,000, the humane thing to do, frankly, the business sense thing to do is foreclose on that son of a gun, go out and rent for a couple of years, save some money, and go buy another house.
Yeah.
I think loan modifications are cruel. I think they are cruel and unusual punishment, especially
I
with
think
principal reduction.
that has to do with the loan fraud, the mortgage fraud.
It does.
It has a lot to do
How
with
many
that.
people know somebody who's been a victim of loan fraud? I don't. I don't know. Anybody?
What is
I
that?
don't know one person that's been a victim of loan fraud. I know people that got crappy loans.
Or didn't read the paperwork they signed?
I don't know. I mean, I know loan fraud's a big deal, and we're all, you know, we got to stop loan fraud. I've been doing this for 25 years.
There's still lawsuits going out there.
Of course
though.
there are, and I'm not saying it doesn't go on, but as a percentage of the overall loans that are done, the loan fraud, if you can prove loan fraud, I'm all for you. Let's go in, matter of fact, today's paper, some guy just got, real estate president this morning. One of those guys who was screwing those people in Temecula got sentenced and is going to jail.
It's just the simple fact that there's so many lawsuits in the paper and, you know, the banks
Yep.
having to come up with all this documentation. It's
Yep.
better for them to do the principal reduction than going through that whole,
It
you
may,
know, thing.
it may. We'll see.
Well,
Hey, keep an eye on this. What time is it?
10:08.
5 after?
Midnight.
Okay.
Well, the other thing, and who was selling real estate after the Northridge earthquake?
What was that?
You remember
That was
trying to get homeowners insurance?
2002.
So we've all been selling real estate.
No, it was 1994, wasn't it? Whatever it was. It was 94.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
I'm sorry.
94.
Remember trying to get homeowners insurance after that? This stuff goes through, you'll never get a mortgage on these homes here from any of the traditional
Well,
sources.
and that's part of the challenge with principal reduction as well. You sit back and say, I have a contract, Jim and I have a contract that says I'm gonna loan you money or you're gonna loan me money, and we move forward on that basis. We second mortgage on the property. And then, for whatever reason, things go bad, and then, you know, government intervention comes in and says, okay, well, you don't have to honor that contract. Well, you think Jim's gonna be anxious to loan money out again? No.
Not in this
Say,
market.
I can't do that, we're not honoring our contract. Anyway, it is something else. So anyway, be aware of that, be aware of this, keep an eye on it, it's important. If you were watching the news, this kind of snuck up on me. I don't really follow a lot of San Bernardino local politics, but city council voted to file Chapter 9 reorganization last night. I just found out about it because it was on the 11 o'clock news, which I thought was interesting. We'll see, Drew said Mammoth City filed bankruptcy, you know, a week or so ago, and then was
That was in your
Stockton.
dad's radio show, I heard that.
Stockton. Again, I don't
I
really
just happened
follow
to hear
Los
it
Angeles
on the radio
city
on Sunday.
politics all
There's
that well,
nothing
but
on it.
there's a lot of buzz about LA and
You're the one.
who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
take that bulldozer you had on that other slide, take it to San Bernardino.
Take it
and
to
just
San Bernardino?
level it, and then we could.
Well, either that or take all the money from the colonies that they stole from San Bernardino.
that's right.
In the city.
Okay, anyway, let's just wrap up on some lighter stuff. I think a few of you have your real estate license renewals coming up. I get this little thing on our internal back office software every day that says, hey, someone's renewal's coming up. If you fall into that category, and you know who you are, hopefully, I'd like you to consider using our online school for your continuing education. We have an online school on our website. I think it's cheaper, a little bit cheaper than any other one.
How much?
What's that?
How much?
I don't know. I should know, but it's,
Like $69.
yeah, less than $100.
That
And
is-
it gets you whatever you need, the 45 hours of the continuing education.
It's
So,
not, but those courses aren't necessarily expensive, it's renewing the license is expensive.
I
right.
know.
But anyway, I'd like you to, somebody try it. My renewal's coming up next year, and I'm going to try it. We have had a couple, I think 2 total, that have actually gone through, not renewals, but gone through the actual licensing process. And I've talked to both of those agents, and it's great, we loved it, it works well. So you can find that on our website if you're so inclined. So anyway, just a commercial for that if you'd like to give it a try. We've already talked a little bit about escrow. Looks like Summer's door is open now, so maybe she's open for business. All I can say, because I can't say much as I would love to say, Steve, please use Town and Country Escrow. Or as much as I would like to say, Steve, please use Town and Country Escrow. We can't do that. Okay, that's a violation of res prendiari and all the rest of that. I got to tell you though, please use Town and Country Escrow if you can. Summer's doing a bang-up job. If she's not, let me know. But it certainly helps.
How about if we get a lead router and we put it through escrow, then we slash the referral?
I'm open to those type of suggestions. Did you hear what Rose said?
Well, because
But having said that, I can't make that connection.
I'm
Can't
closing
do
one,
that.
but it's so small and
I understand. I cannot, legally, you cannot make that connection. If you get an office-generated lead through lead router, wink, wink, nod, nod, use Town and Country. By the way, this is on video, I got it.
no, I know.
This is illegal.
You can't do that. I want you to use them because they're giving you great service and doing a good job, okay?
Yeah.
And as long as that continues, I hope you'll continue to use them. And you are. This is more of a thank you than a commercial for those of you that aren't using them. We're capturing 40% of our office business. And to be honest, I don't think I've strong-armed anybody. As a matter of fact, I know I haven't strong-armed anybody in here to use it. So anyway, I do want to thank you for that. We are going to do our property management training. We're going to finish up here in a few minutes. Anybody going to sit in our property management today? One of you? Okay. 2 of you? Okay. I think we're on our 4th or 5th training class. getting a little bit of traction with those of you that are attending, so I do appreciate those who are attending. We've just got some stuff from noon. You guys have seen the green screen hanging on the wall in the conference room? Every Wednesday following our sales meeting, from now forever, from noon to 5 o'clock, we're just going to convert the conference room into a little video shoot, and we're going to shoot videos for you, okay? Today, we already have 4 or 5 people that have, quote-unquote, made reservations. So if you are interested and you'd like to, and frankly, if you've got your act together and you know what you want to say, you know, just let Brian know, and if you can get in and out of there in 5 or 10 minutes or even 15 minutes, we can more than likely squeeze you in today.
Yeah, that's the thing is, people show up and just like, they want me to do their video for them, and that's what takes a lot of time.
Right.
I need appointments for that. If you just don't know what you're doing about video, but if you come in, you've got your script, you've recited in the mirror, you can do it like that, you know, I can squeeze you in. It takes 5 minutes to do that.
Right.
I can do it with clients, right?
You can bring in clients. Well, that's the thing. We're going to set this up. We're going to do this every single month, and it's going to be every single month forever after the sales meeting, from noon to 5. Again, like Brian said, if you know what you want to say and you've got it done and you've practiced it and you rehearsed it and you think you can get in and out of there in 10, 15 minutes, not that you don't need an appointment, but we can certainly squeeze you in throughout the day. Now, if you don't fall into that category and you're like, I really need some help to stumble through it, then you need to make an appointment. So Brian will block off 45 minutes and say, okay, you're from 1 to 1:45, and then we'll stumble through. Now, if you've already done some videos, but you want to do a better one, as far as I'm concerned, you can come in every month. And you can just reshoot the same video over and over, and you make it better and better and better. If you want to bring clients in to do a testimonial, set an appointment, bring them in from noon to 5 or whatever it happens to be. You want to shoot a property video. This is not necessarily restricted just to kind of like the Coldwell Banker profile page stuff. You want to do a property video. I haven't talked to Stephen about this, but somebody told me that you lost the listing because the guy who got the listing had better video than you. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to do a property video, get your description, get what you want to do, stand in front of this blue screen, the green screen, recite your stuff, give Brian a half a dozen pictures of the property with some text, and he'll make the magic happen. Okay? So,
Dang, Brian.
every month from noon to 5. And frankly, if you want to do it outside of that and you want to shoot your own, you can do that anytime you want. You know, pop up the green screen on the wall and go in there with your partner, whoever you want, and just block off the conference room, and you can shoot video in there all day, every day. I don't care. Okay? Anyway, that is available to you. Okay, we're going to do a sales rally. We're not going to meet next month here. We're going to do a similar yet very different meeting next month, August 8th. That's a Wednesday. We're going to meet again out in Ontario. We're either going to meet at the Red Lion or the Hilton, whatever it happens to be. And we're going to do a combined joint session. We'll take an hour, kind of go through some stuff on what's going on in the market, and then Chase is Chase has been kind of courting us for a little while now. Chase is going to come out, and again, I'm using this word exclusive, probably not exactly the way I should, but Chase is really, really looking to our office to develop a relationship. They want to give us business. They want to give us buyer leads that are coming through our branches. They want to give us short sale business. Shelley was talking about Chase paying $30,000, whatever it happens to be. I have talked with the people at Chase more in the last month than I have with all other lenders combined, including all my bank accounts. I'm talking to them daily. Literally, and I'm not talking to Mario and the local loan officers. I'm talking to the folks above them. They want to develop a relationship with our offices. Again, they like the Moreno Valley, Redlands, Claremont, Covina. They like our market presence, and they want to give us business. So we're going to do an hour or so of our stuff, and then Chase is going to come in. They're flying in a couple of their big wigs from Arizona. And I think somebody was saying they just opened up a big short sale thing in Arizona, Phoenix or something like that, Scottsdale. And they're going to come in. They're going to tell us how they want their process done, and in effect, we're laying the groundwork, hopefully, for us to be the somewhat exclusive short sale lister on their short sale properties moving down the road. And that will, in effect, now you guys have heard this story. Has anybody got the call directly from Chase that says, hey, I got a seller on the phone? Okay, I've gotten a couple of those. It sounds like Shelley's gotten one. You know, they're calling people, I'm sure they're calling the RE/MAX and the Keller Williams, they're calling all the rest of those agents. this is a step towards us getting more of those calls. And maybe, I don't want to say all of those calls, because I don't want to presume too much. But the way they're talking, they want to give us their short sale business. And I'm talking with the people apparently that can do that. So mark your calendar, August 8th. We're going to do our little rally, and then Chase is going to take about an hour and a half and tell us what to expect. I think we've already done our discussion. Anybody got anything else? Nothing? Okay, all right, then we're going to take a 5-minute break if you're interested in the property management stuff, and then meet me in the conference room. All right.